But the one I want to mention is a short that I saw. It's called Sleeping with the Devil. And this was interesting. This was about, I mean, the way that the caption advertised it on the Slamdance portal was, a girl goes through an exorcism, basically. And of course, I'm on board, totally. I want to see that. But it really wasn't that. It was about this this young woman, and she basically, I don't. It doesn't say how old she was, but if I had to guess, she's mid-20s, and she basically denounced God, which horrified her religious mother. And her mother was like, "Your soul is doomed. Like, you're going to hell." The whole thing. And she tried to, and the mother tried to put her into. She contacted faith healers and exorcists, and really tried to expel the demons from her soul. Like, she thought her daughter was possessed by demons. So what the daughter ended up doing was she contacted this sort of televangelist guy, Reverend pastor. They use the terms interchangeably. Bob Larson, who okay, I've never heard of him.
I know him. Yeah.
Okay, so she contacted this guy, and he basically was offering, I guess because of COVID and pandemic stuff, was offering like Skype exorcisms. And immediately the skeptic in me was like, this guy's full of crap. All right, let's see how he justifies this, right? And the interesting thing about the movie and it's basically just her on her, it's just basically their Skype session is the film. And it cuts back from her screen to his screen, and she intercuts sort of church revivals that this guy has done in the past with like hundreds and thousands of people. And we've all seen images of this, of people like, having going through spiritual convulsions and the whole thing. And so she peppers the film with those scenes. But it was just really interesting. I got to thinking, and it brought me back to like thinking about like film theory and gaze and how we see films. And it's like, in this day and age, like I feel like this is something that's becoming more and more prevalent is, we're basically looking at her, and then we're looking at him, and then we're looking at her, and then we're looking at him. And it's all via with the shield of Skype in between us. And it's just an interesting way to view a film and to experience a film, really. But the interesting thing also about it was you sort of knew from the get-go that she was kind of like, I'm just doing this to appease my mother. And if you watch the film, just watch her facial expressions, because she's so like just blank throughout the entire thing. But because of that, you just know, and I said this in my review, I'm like, you just know that she's thinking like, this guy is pulling, it is so full of it. Like, but he believes every word of what he's saying. Yeah. And it's just really funny to watch. Like, and then it also touches on some really hideous and disgusting victim shaming, because he ends up turning the tables on her, and in classic manipulator scheme, which is like, you disavowed God because you did something wrong in your life and because you've made mistakes, and it's that kind of victim shaming that he throws on her. So it goes very, and again, this is all just like one screen of her, one screen of him, one screen of her, one screen of him. So there's really no context other than the parts that she puts in there. So it's just a really very interesting way to experience a film. And I wasn't necessarily wild about it. It wasn't like I forget what sort of a level of review I gave it, but it wasn't like a rave. But it stuck with me just because of that interesting way of technique.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I listened to Bob Larson quite a bit in the 90s. He was a radio evangelist. And, and I will tell you, everything you said does not surprise me. It was, he knows the theatrics. He knows how to use media. I'm not surprised he knows how to use Zoom or Skype to do what he does. And after a while, because half of his show was basically fundraising.
Well, that's what this like within 30 seconds of this, he's offering her like, you've seen me on YouTube, right? Like, and then at the end, he tries to like get her to buy his book. I'm like,
yep. Yeah. Again, I'm not surprised. The only difference is he has a much smaller audience today than he did back then. And, you know, it's very compelling, at least what he did of what I saw. But after a while, you do start seeing the barrier break down on this. And that was interesting because as you were describing, I was going, well, this must be fictional. And then you mentioned his name and it's like, oh, okay. I understand all too well. So it sounds like this is one of those documentaries where it just presents what happened.
Yeah, there's no
allows you to make judgments from that.
And that's what I found was part of the experience, was that there really was no, you know, sort of narrative technique or filmmaking technique involved.
Here's what he did next, and then
well, it's basically like I'm talking to you. It was as if the next shot was like you talking to me. And that's what it was for the entire, it was a short, it was like 25, 26 minutes or something. But that's really how long it was. But because of that, there was a disconnection between the viewer and the subject. So that you're right, to your point, like the viewer was just sitting there making their own judgments. I mean, she skews it. It's definitely biased towards like, this is nutty, especially since she throws in, you know, things about or like the revival ceremonies, I guess you call them. That
she didn't have to work too hard, basically. You're saying.
Right, exactly.
Okay, you just talked me into saying something. All right.